safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Hey, good morning, everyone. Jo here at SportsGrid. It's time for Pocket with Jo over here on a SportsGrid TV on X. It is Tuesday, November 26th. How are we already at the end of November here? It's Thanksgiving week down there in the States. So happy Thanksgiving week to everyone. I hope you're visiting family on Thursday. 2 games today. Absolutely packed slate on the ice tomorrow. So quick show. We're going to jump into both of these games. We'll go over picks, props, and predictions, and then do the recap at the end. Then I'm going to start going through the games for tomorrow because you guys, 15 games tomorrow. It's going to be absolutely crazy out there. So 3 of these teams tonight are on their first night of a back-to-back. We have that back-to-back situation for Vancouver, Boston, and Montreal. Yeah, Montreal. Montreal has 2 back-to-backs, actually. They have a back-to-back tonight and then a back-to-back Saturday and Sunday on a deck, and that'll be the Rangers and the Bruins that they have on deck. So hard weekend slate here for the Montreal Canadiens. Getting a win tonight will be pivotal for this team so that they just don't fall flat on their faces over the next 4. So let's go. Let's get into these. Kev, thank you for being here. You guys, let me know what you're doing for Thanksgiving. I would love to hear it. If you can hit that like, hit that retweet button, I would appreciate it. And sorry it's so bright in here. Forgot to shut my blinds, and I'm being blinded by the snow outside. That is why I look so washed out. So apologies, you guys. I'll have that fixed for the next show. We're going to jump off the show with the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Boston Bruins. Now, we've seen a lot of line movement on this one. Vancouver Canucks were a plus money underdog on the road here versus Boston just last night. Now it's minus 102. So we're still getting value on the Vancouver Canucks. Minus 118 here for the Boston Bruins. This total sitting at 5.5. It is juiced to the under 5.5 at minus 120. I can't get there though, you guys. Vancouver has been so strong on the road, and this team has been scoring goals. Now, we know that the Boston Bruins, since firing Jim Montgomery, have played a strong defensively and in goal, recorded 2 wins. But I'm not buying into this team being able to slow down the offense of the Vancouver Canucks in this one. I think Vancouver can go over their team total. Their team total sitting at 2.5. Over 2.5 goals for the Vancouver Canucks is minus 136. But I don't even think you stop there. I think Vancouver can get the win. So Vancouver on the money line at minus 102. I also like the reverse puck line, you guys. The reverse puck line for the Vancouver Canucks, laying 1.5 goals because they are the dog, is coming in at plus 240. I look here at Swayman, and Swayman on the season hasn't been fantastic for the Bruins. Their last 2 games came against teams that have been struggling to score goals. With the Utah Hockey Club and the Detroit Red Wings. And hopefully you guys joined me yesterday on the Red Wings on the money line, able to get another win over the Isles. And if you were on Sports Rage, we grabbed them again at plus 265. So always looking at those live lines, betting these games, and that's something I'll do in this one too. If the Boston Bruins go up first, I'll be coming back in on Vancouver on that money line when they're 2-1 to our money. So looking at Swayman, I was talking about him on the season. 6, 7, and 2 on the season with a 3.30 goals against average and an 887 save percentage. When we look at him, if you just pull his overall record versus Vancouver Canucks, it looks great. You guys, he's only played 2 games though. And like 2001, 2023, I think it breaks down to those years. Don't quote me on the years, but those 2 games, the very first time he faced Vancouver Canucks, he stood on his freaking head. Last time he faced the Vancouver Canucks, he faced a lot of shots on his net. He faced 39, allowed 3 of those to go in. So still a strong save percentage, but I'm looking here at this Vancouver Canucks team. They're off that win versus the Sens, are going to be chippy off of that win versus the Sens. We know how that game went down. Lankakin in goal for them. Now, he's only played 1 game versus the Boston Bruins in his career. It wasn't pretty at all, you guys. He had an 889 save percentage. He lost the game at 4.08 goals against average. So It wasn't a good one, but Lankiken on the season, I trust more than I do on Swayman. Right now, he's 9-3-2 on the season with a 2.74 goals against average and a 901 save percentage. So I'm looking for strength out of Lankiken and the Vancouver Canucks. I mentioned what a strong road team they are. This team sitting fifth in the Pacific, 10-6-3 on the season and 7-1 straight up on the road. Now they're going to face the Boston Bruins team. Yes, fifth in the Atlantic, 10-9-3. The Bruins are only 6-4-2 at home, and the majority of those home wins came early. They've been taking a slide, and this is why Jim Montgomery got let go. This team I just don't trust offensively to score enough goals to keep up here with the Vancouver Canucks. They haven't scored more than 3 goals in their last 7 games. So this team averaging 2.32 goals per game. First night of a back-to-back, they have the Isles on deck tomorrow. First night of a back-to-back for Vancouver. They have the Pens on deck tomorrow. So neither of these teams have a divisional opponent on deck. The Canucks, as an underdog, have gone 3-2 straight up in their last 5 games this season. They're also 6-4 on the puck line in their last 10 road games. They have been strong, and you look at the Bruins at home as a favorite, 0-5 on that puck line in their last 5. Now, Brock Bauer is still day-to-day for the Vancouver Canucks. There is talks that he will be coming back. That was a concussion, you guys, that he took. So we might see him come back into the lineup, which will give an uptick to this offense. Quinn Hughes, offensive defensive player. So he plays on defense, but I tell you, this guy is coming out. He's getting those shots on goal. He's been hitting the target too. So if you want to look at his shots on goal tonight, I like it. We know he got that ejection, so he's going to be on fire tonight, you guys. I think you'd look at him for the goal or the power play point. You look at the power play here for the Vancouver Canucks. They're converting at 20.3%. Not stellar numbers, but the Boston Bruins have struggled on the kill at 77.9%. I'll just pull up those power play points for you for Quinn Hughes. He does spend a lot of time on the power play because he is on that top line, you guys, on that power play. So his power play point tonight, again, it's not showing, and this is why I didn't have it for you. I'm not getting a power play point for Quinn Hughes. If you can get it on your books, definitely look at it. His 1+ points he can't hit. It's coming in at -188. So if you can't get the power play point, it's not up on FanDuel as of yet. That being said, these lines sometimes open later in the day, and that's what I was counting on here. I would look at him for the anytime goal, just because those shots have been coming. Now, the anytime goal is coming in at +480, but you also have to circle Jake DeBrusk. Jake DeBrusk coming in here at +330, and why would we circle Jake DeBrusk? Because Jake DeBrusk was originally drafted by the Boston Bruins, coming back home. He's going to have home fans there cheering him on tonight. And at +330 for the anytime goal, it holds so much value for Jake DeBrusk. So I like him here in this situation against his former team to come out nice and strong. Now, the Bruins have won 3 of the last 5. So you guys, the Bruins have had the upper hand in this matchup, but 3 of the last 5 isn't that much of an upper hand for me. I think the Vancouver Canucks are a stronger team so far this season. Yeah, those Hurricanes. Hey, Jace, happy Tuesday, everyone. I can't believe it's Tuesday. I can't believe it's November 26th. Still can't believe my Chargers lost last night after going up nice and fast. That's one thing. If the Chargers score first, I'm always really uncomfortable, but oh well. That's what happened. You can't change the past. You just move on to today. But let's look at the Utah Hockey Club and the Montreal Canadiens. Let me just grab odds for you here on FanDuel. The Utah Hockey Club at -137. The Montreal Canadiens look like a nice home dog at +114. I wish we were getting a little bit more value on them here. Now, these teams trend to the under, but for some reason, I'm seeing a 4-3 style game that could be pushed to overtime. We know offensively, we haven't been seeing these teams clicking offensively out there, but we really haven't seen the strength of defense between these teams either. So 3-4 style game, we're getting +108 to the over 6.5. And I just think it should go that way in this one. We have a goaltender making his debut for the Utah Hockey Club. Stabber coming out here. He was with the Chicago Blackhawks last season. He played 6 games with them. Strong numbers, a 2.80 goals against average and a 911 save percentage. but he's been down in the minors for a while. And I look at Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, and I do think they'll be able to hit him in this one. And we know Sam Montague really hasn't been standing on his head. He had those fantastic games to start the season, but now his record is a 899 save percentage, a 3.08 goals against average, and he's 6-9-1 straight up. The power play has been clicking here for the Montreal Canadiens at 22.4%. They're really strong on that kill, 82.4% on the kill, and they're able to get those shorties. So I trust in Cole Caulfield to come out really strong on that kill and be able to get that breakaway and get a shorty in this game. He's been elite at doing so far this season. When we look at these two teams facing each other, this is the first matchup. Montreal will face Utah as a Utah Hockey Club, but they did play when they were the Arizona Coyotes. And we did see Montreal win 3 of the last 4. So value on the home dog in this one. I think the over 6.5 is a better way. I do think it's 3-3 going to overtime. So an overtime bet in this one is coming in. Let me just pull that up because I can't remember the number. Plus 310. The books think this one could go to overtime as well. I think it's probably the best bet. We're normally getting plus 180 or plus 380 or plus 350 for overtime. The fact that the books have this at plus 310, they're kind of covering themselves in this one. So give me the over, give me overtime. If you're looking for player points in this one for Utah, Dylan Guenther has 18 points on the season. Clayton Keller has 19 points, and Logan Cooley has 16. A combination of any of those 3 players for a point each will get you in the positive. When we look at the Montreal Canadiens, Nick Suzuki with 19 points, Cole Caulfield with 16 points. We need him to step up a little bit more. I thought he would actually be leading this team in points. And then Kirby Dach and Josh Anderson is where I would be looking. So let's just build some points in this one. Nick Suzuki and Clayton Keller, those are your most juiced players for those points tonight, and rightly so. So Nick Suzuki at minus 200, Clayton Keller at minus 180. If we move down to the 2+ points and where I see those points coming in, Nick Suzuki's at plus 255. I think you can count on Nick Suzuki and Clayton Keller at plus 280. I would go there with both of those. The power play points, again, are not up yet for these teams. If you're looking for power play points tonight, I would look here at Montreal's Cole Caulfield for the power play points. I'd stay off it for Utah, but I wouldn't be shocked if Clayton Keller does come out with an oomph in this game. So it will be interesting to see what he is able to do out there on the ice tonight versus Montreal. But again, both of these teams allowing over 3 goals per game. They're allowing those shots to come in on their goaltenders as well. I'm just going to ride the over 6.5, the overtime. And then I'm going to build those point props between those players. I really do believe most in Cole Caulfield and Clayton Keller for those. Nick Suzuki as well. He's just been so strong out there on the ice. 4 to 5 leg parlay between both of these games. Sure, Mo, let's do a parlay between these games. Let's first do the recap, you guys. We're going to recap it here at the 13:30 minute mark, and then let's build a fun parlay. Okay, recap time. The Vancouver Canucks versus the Boston Bruins. Vancouver, I think, has every opportunity to get the win over the Boston Bruins. The Bruins have won since firing Jim Montgomery, but you guys, I'm not buying into them being able to stop this high-octane offense. The 7-1 on the road of the Vancouver Canucks. Give me the Vancouver Canucks on the money line at minus 102. Give me the reverse puck line here for the Vancouver Canucks, laying a goal and a half at plus 240, and their team total over 2.5 goals at minus 136. I think things open up tonight. Quinn Hughes for the anytime goal. If you can get his power play point on your book, it's still not available on FanDuel. Look at the power play point. Jake DeBrusk for the anytime goal versus his former team at plus 330 held so much value, and Brock Besner should be back in the lineup. Remember, JT Miller is out. the Utah Hockey Club versus the Montreal Canadiens. You guys, I see overtime in this one. That's coming in at plus 310 because I think it could go to overtime. I think this 3-3 going to overtime, pushing us over the total of 6.5. That's 6.5 with plus money at plus 108. I do think Montreal is a live home dog. I think it's worth a sprinkle on Montreal with the plus money to get things done in overtime. Dylan Guenther, Logan Cooling, Clayton Keller are your players you can look at for points for the Utah Hockey Club, and Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield for the Montreal Canadiens. So that is the recap, you guys. Let's look at building a parlay. So if we're going to build a 5-leg parlay, I'm just going to open FanDuel so I can get those odds for you, you guys. I'm going to maybe flex a couple of things. I do think the Vancouver Canucks can get the win, but if they're getting the win, they're getting over 2.5 goals. So let's take the over 2.5 goals at minus 134 as a leg number one of this parlay. When I'm looking at this game, we look at the Vancouver Canucks are averaging 27.6 shots on goal per game. Boston is still allowing that 28.7, and I know their defense has been playing stronger, but I'm expecting those shots on goal to come in. Let's see if we can put those shots on goal for Quinn Hughes. 2+ shots on goal for Quinn Hughes. Oh, that's the first period. I was like, why are they giving us plus 290? I want the shots on goal for the full game. So Elias Lindholm, his shots on goal over 1.5. That's an interesting look for Boston with Elias Lindholm. I'm going to throw that in, you guys. I actually really like that. 2 shots out of Elias. Jake DeBrusk, over 2.5 shots as well. Actually, let's take Elias Lindholm out. Let's put Jake DeBrusk, and we're going to look at Quinn Hughes for his shots on goal over 2.5. So far, the same game parlay. If you want to do a same game parlay, I would look at Vancouver over 2.5 goals, Jake DeBrusk over 2.5 shots on goal, and Quinn Hughes over 2.5 shots on goal. That's coming in at plus 541 on FanDuel. If you want to do full night parlay with both of the games, we're then going to look at, I really do think this goes over. Let's look at what we can get here. We've got some goalie props. Sam Montembeault over 26.5 save shots. Ooh, that is risky. Let's look at the shots on goal here for the Montreal Canadiens. We have Nick Suzuki shots on goals, 2.5. When we look at Utah's allowing 29.5 shots on goal. Montreal's allowing 30.1. I do think we can see Nick Suzuki go over the 2.5 shots on goal. Are they letting me parlay that? Let me just see if they're letting me parlay multi-games here on FanDuel. Okay, yeah, we are getting that 4-leg parlay. So let's look there, and then let's look at Montreal's team total. I really do think Montreal will be able to get 3 goals in this game. Montreal's a team total 2.5, minus 148 to the over. So that is a 5-leg parlay. It's worth a sprinkle, you guys, plus 2028. So the 5 legs of that parlay, we're going to take Vancouver over 2.5 goals tonight. Jake DeBrusk over 2.5 shots on goal. Quinn Hughes over 2.5 shots on goal. Those are all players for Vancouver out there. And then we're going to look at Utah and Montreal, adding in Nick Suzuki over 2.5 shots on goal, and Montreal's team total over 2.5. That's then coming in. It's adjusting plus 20.05 right now on FanDuel. Now, Dylan Guenther, that is a nice look on his shots on goal. If we add Dylan Guenther for his shots on goal, let's just see what it puts us to, you guys. If you guys like Dylan Guenther, let's add him in there. I do think he can get those shots. Montreal gives up that 30. Dylan Guenther added in comes into, it brings that parlay up to plus 4,097. 40 to 1 to your money. I can get behind that for a sprinkle, you guys. I love the over 6.5 on the Montreal Canadiens game. I decided to break it down to take the Canadiens team total over that 2.5 within that parlay. So that is where I would go if you want to build a crazy hockey night in America, because there's games in America tonight and in Canada. So that's where I would go. Those 6 legs again. Vancouver over 2.5 for their team total. Jake DeBrusk over 2.5 shots. Quinn Hughes over 2.5 shots. Nick Suzuki over 2.5 shots. Montreal over 2.5 goals. And Dylan Guenther over 2.5 goals. Again, plus 40.97 as those odds move. You guys, thank you so much for joining me here on A Pocket with Jo. Again, loaded slate tomorrow. We're going to go over all of those games tomorrow. Make sure you heat up your coffee beforehand because it's going to be a long show. 15 games on deck. So let's start preparing. I'm going to start preparing and breaking down these games now. Because it's going to take me a heck of a long time. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. Again, I appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow at noon Eastern here on SportsGrid, on SportsGrid TV on X.